the topic we are going to see is what are errors and what are exceptions. Under module 4, now we'll see what is an exception, how we can find out the exception. For example, if a user is giving a password or anything in some kind of registration forms, that there is a problem. Find out very quickly. Based on this concept, we need to understand the difference between what is validation and what is exceptions. So, if the user is giving a password which contains only letters, then is this a validation or exception or any kind of errors? We need to know that. If he is giving only letters, then should the AI validate it and it just send to the backend and it just try to catch it and send to the at lost. So we need to know an error. It is an unexpected program result that cannot be handled by the program itself. So these exceptions and all, it will be worked in an unpredicted way, and it's sometimes it should be in a wrong format. The user already exists in an operating system, and then there is a case of exception, and then these exceptions can be handled how the UI can validate exceptions and just we just catch UI catch those exceptions and user can see the nice message. And errors are resolved by fixing the problem. An example of an error would be an infinite loop that never stops executing. For example, if any operating system you can take, the user can type anything, it just take it as a plain text. Now, so this is one of the option. An exception is unexpected program result that is handled by the program itself. When an error occurs, depending on your configuration settings, always we need to know that these exceptions or errors or these exceptions or like built-in functions during runtime. So whenever we can see in this PHP configuration in php.ini, you can see those directories will be set up by this function during runtime. So PHP offers a number of ways to handle the errors, and you can PHP displays the error message in the web browser with information relating to the error. We are going to look at three commonly used methods. One is die statements and custom error handlers and PHP error reporting. So when we're talking about this die statements, the die function combines the echo and exit function in one. It is very useful when we want to output a message and stop the script execution when an error occurs. And custom error handlers. So these are the user defined functions called whenever an error occurs. When error came into the picture, then the user defined functions may get called. But in die statements, what is happening? It is when you want to output a message and to stop the script execution, that time error can occur. And PHP error reporting. So these error reporting are the built-in functions. We already saw that. These are the built-in function which is in the PHP configuration under php.ini. So in that you can see that function which is applicable by the during runtime. So the error message depending on your PHP error reporting statements is very useful in developing environment when you have no idea what caused the error, okay, why it came. So is this a validation issue or any exception issue? We need to find out. Whatever the UI can validate and just try to catch those errors and pass it. And the information displayed can you can debug your application too. And error handling examples. Let's now look at some simple example with error handling routines. We have developed an application that uses text files to store data. We might want to check the files existent before read data from it, where it actually the file exists. You have to check first. We need to before going to read the data, we need to check where it actually exists. And multiple exceptions. We can the exceptions which is in multiple statements. You can use multiple try catch blocks to handle the thrown exceptions. Whatever the UI validate and those exceptions you can pass as it accordingly. And multiple exceptions are useful when you want to display a customized message depending on the exception thrown. You want to perform a unique operation depending on the exception thrown. The flowchart, like we will see how the multiple exceptions will work under the conditions. If the operating system, if any users, one or more users already exist in the existing operating systems, so that in case we can find out those kind of exceptions and it can just thrown it off, and the UI can take those exceptions, and user can see the nice message based on that. And we will modify the code that divides a number by passed in the denominator. We expect two types of exceptions to occur. One is division by zero, and another type of exception is division by negative number. And this is the two we already know in previous session. So for simplicity's sake, we will only display the execution type in our catch blocks. Now, why? Because we need to find out whether the user is giving user already exists in some other of OS or not. So that is also one of the exception keys we can throw. And the PHP built-in exception class is used to throw the exceptions, and we will create two classes to extend the exception class, use them to throw the exceptions. And errors are unexpected result produced by the PHP code, because these exceptions are like it can act like a it just worked under way, and it should be in a wrong format too. So error handling improves application performance, and like exceptions are also same like as errors, but they can be caught using catch block when thrown. And displaying error messages that show error information, this considered as a bad security practice, because we can't show the error information. And PHP has built-in functions to improve the PHP reporting errors, because all the reporting levels which is under PHP configuration, we can see it during runtime. We can find out those levels. When an exception is thrown, code following the statement will not get executed, because if an exception is not caught, PHP fatal error will with an uncaught exception. So to find the first matching catch block, we might understand an exception can be thrown or not and caught within PHP. So code may be surrounded in a try block. So each try must have at least one corresponding catch block, and multiple catch blocks can be used to catch different classes of exceptions. So these exceptions can be thrown within a catch block. So all the catches surroundings of all your catches will have at least compulsory we block called try block. So exceptions can be thrown or rethrown within a catch block.